game day ritual. Run the ball like Mitchell, or you can be like Reynolds and Skipple. Give it a Johnston and you'll get triple. Pass it to Cleary, you know he'll run the pitch. Score points like Jabojevic, I'm game day fit, no need to switch. Cooking up like Cookie Man's in the kitchen. Who's that on the wing? It's Sivo. Score, try and do the Guffrino. Don't get too rowdy or too keen, or you'll end up like Hasentino. Get a 40-20 like DCE. Run the ball like hectic cheese. Support runner, that's Pappenhausen, but I still got Teddy at the SCG.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Final Siren podcast. It's great to be back. Origin is right around the corner. It's here. So looking forward to Origin. First off, Faraz, I'll ask you how you're going, mate, and how much are you looking forward to Origin tomorrow night?
Yeah, not too bad myself, mate. Just can't wait for tomorrow. Already getting Origin fever. Just watching a lot of Origin highlights and flashbacks. Can't wait for this one. This is the most I've been excited for Origin. I know we say that every time, but this year there's a lot of stuff going on that we don't know. Very
true, very true. So I think Lachlan, sadly, unable to make it. Davos too, as he's at footy training. Lachlan's back in Bundy, getting prepared to watch Origin tomorrow night. So it'll just be me and Faraz today, but Lachlan and Davos have left us with their tips, scoreline, anytime try scorers, man of the match for game one, series predictions, and Wally Lewis medal predictions. Actually, I'm not too sure Davos has. I might try and get that off of him if I can. But we move on. We move. Now, Faraz, before we get to any of the hello, Harry Rector in the chat. Good to see you're a Queenslander, mate. We're looking forward to this one. So before we get to any of the tip scorelines predictions, we got sort of 5 pieces of not so much news, but sort of questions to talk about. One of them is a piece of news. Latrell Mitchell, he's ruled out of Origin Game 1 with a calf strain. Stephen Crichton comes in to take his place. Would you have been looking at, because Matt Burton, he got added back into the squad. Would you have been looking at bringing in Campbell Graham for Latrell Mitchell?
Yeah, I would definitely have Graham with it. I think he should have been kept in the squad. Let's be real. He's not injured at the moment. He could have easily been in the squad if he's playing. But, yeah, look, I understand why they gave it to Crichton as well because of that parent connection. But as we saw last year, they didn't work in Origin. Combinations aren't the same in Origin level footy. Look, Crichton's been good, but I think Graham's been hard to look past this year, especially in attack and defence.
Yeah, very true. New South Wales deserved faves. We might answer the questions as they come this time because we've only got the two of us this time. Faraz, I'll let you touch on that first.
Look, on paper, they do have the strongest side, but, now that there's no Latrell Mitchell, surely we can be at least like slight favourites, especially after winning the last series.
Very much. I think they deserve to be favourites. As much as people are saying they don't deserve to be favourites, they're $1.80 favourites. We're $2. I think it was. We were much more outsiders when Latrell Mitchell was confirmed to be playing. Now that he's been ruled out, we've sort of our price is lowered a bit. As in our price, I mean Queensland, and New South Wales has gone up just a little bit. So I think they're deservedly favourites, but I don't know. Queensland, I like being the underdog. As Terry Lamb has just said in the chat, Queensland like it that way. We do. We like being the underdogs. Absolutely love it. Would you agree with that for us?
Yeah, look, I mean, that's the Queensland motto, isn't it? The Queensland spirit, they love being underdog. They don't care, really. Like, you could have us $5 to 1. We couldn't give a crap. We just get on with our business.
Yeah, very much so. But we'll get back to the news. Latrell Mitchell, obviously, you touched on whether Campbell Graham should be in or not. How big of an out is Latrell Mitchell for this New South Wales team? We know how dangerous he is.
Mate, massive, because apparently New South Wales can't live without Latrell. But all jokes aside, look, he's a big part in their attack. Even defensively, he does a great job on it. I think he had Gaga on the string in 2021, and we know what Gaga has done for the Origin Arena. Look, yeah, it's a massive loss. I think he definitely takes out a lot of attacking. Most importantly, X Factor, because Latrell just brings it. He can make something out of nothing. That's what he does to this team.
Very much so.
And also, we get to miss that Turbo and Latrell connection once again, so that's a massive loss once again, that's all.
Very much. Good to see we have 4 sort of regulars in the chat. Harry Rector, Leach Dean, Terry Lamb, and Yahoo Frem. Good to see you all back in the chat. Hopefully you're all looking forward to Origin as much as we are. completely pumped up about it. But yeah, Latrell Mitchell been out, very big out. Calf strain. I truly do wish him a speedy recovery. Not speedy enough to play back in game one, but honestly, I wanted to see New South Wales at full strength. That way, they didn't have any excuses when we beat them. But I don't know. I'll take.
I mean, they have to.
Yeah. As for Stephen Crichton taking his place, I'm not too sure I agree with it. I would have personally gone Matt Burton and Campbell Graham over him. But what's your thoughts on that for us?
Yeah, you're not too wrong there. I think most people agree. And look, I know Crichton's one of the best defensive centers, but Graham should surely get a crack. Crichton's already got his chance. He fluffed that. I get he's a big game player, but he's more of a big numbers player, and he didn't prove himself last. Has to get a crack somewhere. I know he could have been slow as a center. I mean, he was in the squad for a reason, right?
Yeah, very true. I'd have Welsh over Flegler, only change for Terry Lamb. I'm not too sure. I've actually come to like the idea of, and this is not just me being a Broncos fan, because if it was me being a Broncos fan, I'd rather have him in the team to play against Sharks. But I actually really like the idea of Flegler starting. He'll bring a lot of aggression. I wouldn't have mind seeing Tino starting over Flegler, but he'll definitely bring a lot of aggression starting that game. As I said to Faraz and Lockie and Davos, he'll be running off the back fence. You know what you get with Flegler. He'll be aggressive to start.
So in that sense, this is a question we're going to touch on later, but in a sense to you, do you think Queensland have dished Welch, or do you think they've made the right call?
I think they've made the right call. I don't think. Listen, Welsh has just come off an injury that ended his 2022 season before it even began. I don't think it's fair right now to pick him based on this season. To be fair and being completely unbiased, I think Christian Welch has been all right. He hasn't really been good. But, I mean, he's just returning from injury, though, so you can't expect him to be too good.
And Flegler hasn't earned his spot, but I wouldn't have him starting, though. That's my only worry.
Yeah. And some people just feel that way. I personally think Slater's got it right. I think just. But, yeah, as someone in the comments said, Harry Rector, Flegler versus Tavita Pangai Jr., that's going to be a great battle. Fittler, Penrith biased. I just think Penrith are the best team, to be honest. I don't really see much bias. Stephen Crichton's probably the only bias I really see. If he was Penrith biased, but I don't think he is Penrith biased. I think it's just they're the best team in the comp. He's probably going for the Stephen Crichton Brian Toto connection, which I don't blame him. Yeah, so I can't really not knock him for picking Crichton instead of Burton. What about you?
Yeah, you're not, but. Do you feel I don't know, man. I know they've got a lot of Penrith players, but then again, it's like Queensland. They've got a lot of Broncos players in there, so it's slated like Broncos bias, right? I mean, look, I do get there's a lot of Penrith combinations, and it didn't work for them last year, but at the same time, those are your best options. You know what I mean? Even though Crichton still played last year.
Yeah, definitely. I don't think Crichton didn't really impress me that much last year, so I'm not sure how he'll go this year. But I'm looking forward to seeing it. Latrell is a big out, and I know Tommy Turbo. Apparently Tommy Turbo is staying on the left. So, staying on the right. He's staying on the right.
So they're swapping Holmes and Gagai.
Yeah, Holmes and Gagai have been swapped. So Holmes is defending on the right. Turbo's attacking on the right. So Turbo's going at Hamisa Tabuai-Fidow, which means that's why I'm not too sure why they're stuck with Crichton, because Crichton's on the left side. He'll be with Josh Addo-Carr. I'm not too sure. Buddy56 Serhi says, is Talakai in the squad again? No, not this time. Not this time. I don't think he'll ever be in the squad again, sadly. The one game he played, I think he made an error, I think, 2 or 3 errors on...
It was a costly error as well. New South Wales on the edge of defending, and that error just killed him and completely just scored wrap it up.
Exactly. So I would be surprised to see him in the squad again unless he's playing career best footy like he did in that game against Manly. He was overrated as fuck that season. No offense to him. How will Nico Hines be used in Origin? Sorry. This is a question we've come up with ourselves. We wanted to discuss it. He's at the 14 role.
Yeah.
He's publicly stated he's been practicing a bit of hooker, a bit in the centers, a bit at fullback, a bit in the halves, even a bit at lock. I reckon he could play any position probably except front row. Even then, he'd probably still give it a shot. He's that type of player. I want to hear in the comments as well. Where do you guys think he'll play? But Faraz, I'll get your opinion first.
Yeah, it's an interesting one to me. Honestly, before you mentioned he was saying he was going to play a bit of hooker, I honestly thought there's no really point playing him because if you were to pick Hines, you'd start him. But now that he's come out publicly saying, oh, he might play a bit of hooker, I don't actually mind that. But it's better than like coming up for Luai, who's like a 6 as well. Like, then you'd have Hines and Cleary, who are 2 halves, right? So I don't know how that would make sense. And you're obviously not going to like get Tedesco out for Hines. So then there's no really other choice that leaves you there. I know Hines could play, but I don't know if Hines could play a bit of setup. But then again, you've got Turbo, and before you have Latrell, EDC. So yeah, look, I don't mind him playing a bit of dummy half. Like maybe what I would have done is probably maybe like start Hines, then maybe use Appy off the bench. But we'll see how it goes. I don't think Hines has ever played hooker before, so it's an interesting one. But I don't really mind it. Better than Luai Murray playing 9 for me.
Well, yeah, I've heard a bunch of different things. So yeah, practically what Nico Hines said was he's willing to play anywhere, and he's not too sure how he'll be used. But I've heard a few things. I've heard Nico will come on at 6 and Jerome Luai will go to 9. I've heard that Cameron Murray will be used as a 9. I've heard that Nico Hines will come on and play some lock and Isaiah Yeo move into the front row. So it's very weird. I haven't really heard which of those are correct. As Stuart Butcher says, 9. That's all agreed with Faraz analysis. He's very good at analyzing things, Faraz. Put it perfectly.
Thanks.
Cobo, no problem, mate. Cobo and Taulagi overrated. No, I wouldn't say so. Cobo just makes a lot of errors.
I can see the Taulagi point of where he should have not been picked, maybe. But then again, like a lot of people are saying Xavier Coates, like could be Coates. And look, I'll ask you this as well, Noah. Like a lot of people are saying Taulagi doesn't deserve it, and that might be true. But has Coates actually been that better though, individually?
Personally, what I would have had, but first off, I'll talk about Taulagi versus Coates. Taulagi, I'll take any day of the week over Coates. Don't get me wrong, love Xavier. He seems like a great bloke. Loved him at the Broncos. I still love him at the Storm. The man cannot defend for his life, and he cannot catch a ball for his life. So Taulagi for me in that argument. But I personally would have had possibly Gagai on the wing over Taulagi, and if not, I would have had Hammer on the wing and Gagai in centre. So
I'm not here to back Coates. I think Coates is a good highlights player, but he's not an origin player to me. If that sort of makes sense. Like I just feel like he's sort of the highlights player rules, and if it wasn't for his freakish air tries, like people wouldn't be talking about him.
Yeah, I think in the future, Coates for Origin, sure. But he needs to work on his defense first. He needs to work on his ability of catching the ball.
Especially with Turbo back, mate. Like, they're going to go a lot of that attack on the edge.
Exactly. Who has the better bench? Queensland, for me. It's not even really competition for me. You have Tino and Cotter and Harry Grant on the bench. And who was their other... They had one other player. We have one other player.
I'm going to just go get my charger, but quickly, I think for who was it, New South Wales?
Well, here's the benches. I'll quickly read them to you. Harry Grant, Tino, Ruben Cotter, Jai Arrow. That's Queensland. And then New South Wales is Junior Barlaw, Cameron Murray, Liam Martin, Nico Hines. Queensland for me. Via Florida.
Yeah, I don't know what New South Wales are doing with like 2 ball playing forwards there. And Hines, we have to see how he's here. So Queensland have a better established bench, remember.
Yeah, definitely.
I'll just quickly get my charger, mate. Just take up for 1 second.
All good, mate. All good. While Faraz is getting his charger, any other questions you have, just put them in the chat. I'll feel free to answer them. But I'll touch a bit more on the bench while Faraz is gone. Cameron Murray and Liam Martin, I don't agree with that at all. I feel like those are two... I know Cameron Murray can play in the middle, but I see him in Origin. I'm not too sure where he'll come on and play. Also, this is just something that sort of sets off my... non-existent OCD, but Nico Hines at 17. Why is he not on the 14 jumper? Someone please tell me. I think Faraz is back now.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. So we'll move on to the next one. no other questions in there. Is Brad Fittler's job on the line for us?
Well, according to a lot of New South Wales fans, you'd arguably say yes. So, and look, I think it's mainly because of the 2020 and 2022 series, like the unlosable series they had. They could have finally ended the drought at Suncorp in the decider, which they failed to do. Then 2020, obviously, Queensland had apparently the worst team of all time, and they still managed to lose a series there with half the team wasn't being picked. So yeah, look, I can understand like where the criticism is coming from, but like my other question is then who's going to take over? Like, yes, Phil might not be the man for the job future-wise, but who's going to take over there is the next question. And let's not forget, like, when New South started, like, beginning the small sort of dynasty, or like their fairy tags and all that, it was under Phil as well.
Yeah, definitely. Let us know in the comments. Do you think Brad Fittler's job is on the line? As we see Lachlan in the chat, Faraz, no one cares. Lockie, hope you're doing well in Bundy, mate.
Don't know what he's referring to, but we're missing you, mate.
Looking forward to having you back whenever you're back. Sorry, lads, got to go before Noah bans me. We'll see you when you're back, Lockie. We'll see you when you're back. Good to see him in the chat, supporting the boys like always. Even when he's not here, he'll join in for a bit. Now, personally for me, Brad Fittler's job is on the line. I've heard that if he wins this series, he is going to get a one more Origin, one more year of Origin contract extension. But to me, I think that's New South Wales. I'm going to turn it around here. I feel like that's New South Wales not showing faith in their coach. And I'm not saying Brad Fittler's the best person for the job. I feel like there could be other people who could do a better job at coaching New South Wales. But all the New South Wales fans are bagging Queensland for not sticking loyal. If you're going to tell your coach, listen, if you're going to tell your coach, listen, you need to win us the Shield every year, otherwise you're not getting a contract extension. That just doesn't seem fair. Because if he loses this year, he gets sacked. If he wins, he gets a 1 year contract extension. I imagine it's the same thing next year. If he loses, he gets sacked.
No, you're 100% on the money there, mate. Look, a lot of people have been bagging their coach. Like, look, when Slater came to the helm, right, everyone just gave him a chance, you know. Like, a lot of New South fans were saying, oh, like, good players don't make good coaches and all that. And look, we didn't know what he was doing with the time at the squad, and we didn't bag him. We just gave him a chance. And look, I know Fittler has been proven before, and he's had a few unforgettable series like they should have probably won, but just give the man a chance, you know. Like, there was a few injuries. Look, it's not a total excuse, but let's give him a chance. If he still loses a series with Tommy Tomer back, the championship back, then you start looking at questions, you know what I mean? Because at the same time, look, Origin is that arena where it's not even necessarily about the coaching, it's more about you have the players on the runs, you know, you have players that are top tier class players. You're not coaching like the Broncos in 2021, you're not taking over from the Bulldogs 2022, you know what I mean? You're playing with the best of best, you know what I mean? So give him a chance.
Yeah, definitely. As Vernon Snake says, Fittler can't pick depth players, sorry, he corrected himself there. I agree with that. I think usually his 1 to 3 to 13 is usually pretty good. Then his bench is usually decent, and then his reserves are always fucking stupid. I never agree with the team Brad Fittler picks. I always have so many changes.
A lot of people have been bagging us and all that, but he also does pick on form as well. Like, I feel like even the Crider selection as well, the Talakai selection last year when he ran over Harper, like, you know, in that game, like, everyone thought he would run over Stags the next week, got a big reality check in Origin as well. So look, a lot of people can back Queensland for this, but at the same time, like, your coach has made some unforgettable selections.
And I'm gonna be the one to say this, and chat, you can tell me if you feel I'm wrong, and Faraz, you can tell me if you disagree. But I feel like sometimes he's rushing players into Origin who aren't quite ready yet just because they're on good form. I think we saw that with Katoni Staggs last year. I don't think Staggs deserved the call-up at the time. I'm sorry, I love Katoni, but I don't think he deserved the call-up at the time. He wasn't playing his best football. He got the call-up. Now we'll probably won't see him in Origin again for quite a while because he got rushed into it at a time. Katoni was even saying he wasn't 100% fit. I think he injured it. He had an injured shoulder going into it, and then he injured it even more during the game. So I don't know. I feel like he's rushing people into Origin. I'm not sure. Yeah, and Harry Rector, I agree. Jordan McLean, that was a a very weak
Oh,
selection last year.
that
I
was.
felt happy for him, but
Can I just say one thing as well? Like, and Appy, I think has done well enough. I think he'll do a great job. He's dangerous and attacking up from dummy half. He's a two-time premiership winner. But who the hell drops their hooker 1 week out from Origin camp? Like, I get Appy's had a big game over the Cowboys, but are you telling me now you're just going to drop Cook because of one game leading up into Origin? If you're going to bag us Queenslanders for saying, "Oh, we're not loyal anymore," because we picked blokes for like 3-4 years straight. You're dropping your main hooker one game before Origin just because someone started a 66-18 demolition. Can you tell me how's that fair on Cook? Like, I'm not saying Abby can't do the job, but Cook was probably their main man until that week. Like, who drops in a week before the squad comes out? You know what I mean?
exactly, it's stupid. And as Harry Rector also says, Fittler doesn't seem passionate enough. I actually agree. The more we talk about this, the more I think he actually should be sacked. I don't know. I feel like someone who would be a good coach of New South Wales.
Maybe Andrew Johns.
I think Matty Johns would be a good coach. I just don't think Andrew Johns has the smarts to be a coach. I've listened to some of his takes. I think the other day I was listening to one where Matty Johns and Andrew Johns were talking, and I think Andrew Johns was saying, yeah, they had a big argument because Matty Johns was admitting that Queensland have been the better team, even though New South Wales have had the better team. Queensland have been the better team over the last couple of years, and Andrew Johns didn't appreciate it. But it's true. Queensland doesn't matter who the players are; they always step up.
I sort of feel Andrew Johns in that sense is more of like a pundit that really can't like hold his expressions, and that's fair enough. You know, I can understand where he's coming from, but as a coach, you can't have that.
Well, that's the thing. He's passionate, Andrew Johns, but I think he's like it's hard to say, but I think he's too passionate to the point where he'll make some really stupid decisions just because that's how much he loves New South Wales. And I love Andrew Johns. He was a great player.
Yeah, even like a Billy Slater, like he's not like the biggest bloke in the world. He's calm and quiet.
Well, yeah. Well, if you were picking coaches off how passionate they were, the coach of Queensland would probably be Jonathan Thurston. He lives and breathes Queensland, but I think it's just Slater's got a calm head. He's a good coach. So I reckon he'll coach in the NRL in the future. I can see him taking over Storm when Bellamy leaves. I reckon. Makes sense, to be honest. Cook was easy to 9. He's been the 9 option the past couple of years for New South Wales, and he's never done anything wrong. So I don't agree with him being dropped. But that's all the questions sort of about New South Wales. We're moving on to Queensland now. Would you have selected Ponga or Walsh? Faraz, I'll let you go first.
Well, I'm going to tell you straight up. Ponga is my first choice option, but I can definitely understand why they didn't select Ponga. Look, Ponga's got a few head knocks and all that. Look, you got to take care of the body first, and look, mental health, Ponga-wise, because these guys are probably going to target him and all that. And what happens if Ponga goes down in the game, you know what I mean? So look, I think Walsh on form as well has been the best fullback. So I think that's a safe selection. Look, I know a lot of people have seen saying, "Oh, they don't feel confident or that with Walsh." At the same time, I do understand because Ponga's been there, done it before, but you got to understand Ponga's had like only 2 games to his belt. He's coming in with the worst preparation ever. Like you can't expect him to deliver every game. So I think at least for now, let Walsh do his talking. If he doesn't perform, bring back Ponga again. So let Ponga play footy for the Knights. Let them bring back easily because it's a really sensational situation with Ponga at the moment. It's like you can play, but do you risk like damaging his body even more?
Exactly. For me personally, this sort of ties into my next. The next question we have is Queensland loyalty gone? This sort of ties into it for me. If Ponga was fully fit, if he'd played probably like 2 or 3 more games before selections got announced, if he didn't have to take off that time for the major concussion he had earlier this year, he is no doubt, doesn't matter how good Walsh is playing, he is no doubt my first choice fullback for Queensland. I'm not even giving it any second thought. The head knocks he's had has cost him an Origin spot, and it's sad to see.
Yeah, 100%. And Matt, I haven't told you in the Broncos chat, I've been calling for Walsh to be in the squad, but I haven't set my team list. Like, Ponga is my number 1 choice because you got to give some sort of loyalty and respect to him. Like, what he did in Game 3 last year was amazing. And look, I won't watch it as bad, but like, if Ponga was fit, you give him at least 1 game. If he doesn't perform Game 1, bugger off and get Walsh in. But look, Yeah, it's unfortunate, but I'd rather Ponga be safe and like clear his way back in.
Well, even on the weekend, he played fullback. First game at fullback for Newcastle since last year. He didn't look
He got
like someone who is playing for a
exactly.
Queensland jersey.
He got one shot in him and he looked rattled. Because that's the thing. People are going to target him now. And obviously, it's that arena. It's so intense. Like, people are going to come after you no matter what. They can do grubby stuff. You're going to get away with it in Origin level. They don't give a crap.
Yeah, exactly. So for me, I would have, if Ponga was fully fit, I would have selected him. And if he hadn't had the head knock, but I agree. After I've had time to sort of think about it, I agree with the selection of Walsh, definitely. And that ties into the next question. Is Queensland loyalty gone for us? Let's talk about that one.
this is probably the most sensitive topic to talk about if you're a Queenslander. Look, my full answer is no. Even though yes, I've been shocked with a few names I'm mentioning, but at the same time, if you look at the names I've been dropping, Caleb Ponga, we just discussed about it. He's not fully fair at the moment. He's got like 10 concussions to the brain. Only has to play 2 games. Kirk Capewell, I love him as a Broncos player, but his form didn't even warrant selection. He didn't even make the kangaroo squad last year as well. He has a niggling shoulder, so I can understand fair enough why he didn't get picked. And then you look at Danny Gagai. That's probably the only one I can actually genuinely think, oh, maybe he has a case there. But at the same time, I've told you this before, Noah. Origin is a privilege, not a right. He's played 22 games straight. Everything is not permanent in life. He's played 22 games. And let's not forget, Gagai wasn't necessarily the best last year. You know what I mean? And even if you look at the matchups in 2021, the Chop which were like dominating, it was like icing on the cake. So look, I love Gagai. I'll definitely have him in the team still, but you have to understand, like, you can't pick everyone forever. And look, these are the future guns, you know? It might not work for a few games, but long term, it's going to work eventually. So
yeah,
I disagree with all this loyalty bullshit. And look, if we were unloyal, we would have dropped DC 2 years ago. He's still on the team. Munce is still on the team. Like, Holmes is still on the team. Like, Holmes had a shot against Todd. Like, he got dominated 1-1. Did we drop him just like that? No, we stuck victory him. Even though we knew who the sellers were going to be lining up against.
Exactly. I'm going to quickly talk about, I'm going to touch on this. Some of you may know Donny Sports. Absolutely love his page. He's a great bloke. Love everything he talks about. He touched on it and he said it the best. New South Wales have had over 100 more debutants than Queen. Not over, but somewhere near 100 more. I think it's just a bit less. It might be like 80 or 90 more players play for New South Wales than Queensland. Loyalty is not gone in Queensland. Like I said before we started, if it was, DCE wouldn't have been chosen last year. It would have been Sam Walker. I think Ponga last year, he was even struggling. You would have said Brimson could have even slid in at that point because Brimson was having a great year last year. Its loyalty is not gone for Queensland. Gagai, while I'm sad about it, last Origin series he played, I think he missed like a total of like 20, 25 tackles over the 3 games, which is unacceptable at Origin level. And while I would have him in the side, it's Slater's team, not mine. Capewell apparently was carrying a shoulder injury into the Broncos game. He looks a bit better now, but you never know. That's why he wasn't picked for the actual camp. And as for Ponga, we touched on that just before. Queensland loyalty is not gone. I think it's just it's unlucky that Ponga's had head knocks. It's unlucky that Gagai is getting older and isn't in the form he used to be, and it's unlucky that Capewell had an injury at the time team was still getting selected. It's a bit of unluckiness for Queensland, but loyalty, I promise you, Queensland loyalty is not gone. And I promise you next year, for instance, if Walsh does well this year, I promise you next year it will still be a close battle between Walsh and Ponga for the 1 jersey. It's no doubt.
And mind you as well, look, if you look at the 2 games on paper, Queensland have so much more superior and older players that even Munster, he's not getting any younger. He's in his 20s and near 25, 26s. DC's 34. Even Ponga's been here for a few years. Like, Capewell was 31 as well. Christian Walsh is now in his 30s as well. You can check as well. So if you look at it between both teams, even like the Latrobe, Tom Togo, they're in their mid-20s. Like, they've got a young, fresh team. So Queensland are bound to retire a few players eventually. Like, not everything's permanent.
Yeah, definitely. And it's just one of those things that obviously you're not going to have the same team always. And it's unlucky, but it's what it is. And also touching more on the Ponga subject, he's been playing 6 the whole year. So that's another reason Walsh has been playing fullback the whole year. Obviously, you sort of have to give the edge to Walsh for the fact that he's been playing fullback and he's been doing it well. Ponga's been playing 6 and hasn't even put together like 8 games yet. So I'm not sure. It's unlucky, but it is what it is. Speaking of unlucky, Yahoo Frem says unlucky players to miss out.
Good
Quite
catch.
a few. Jack DeBellin. We just talked about Ponga, Gagai, Capewell. I think Jack DeBellin was one of them that was a big one for me. I thought he was going to be in the squad. I'm not really too sure who else. What about you, Faraz? Do you have any players you reckon were unlucky to miss out?
Oh, just someone said just in the chat, Moe Fodawaker, yeah, Big Moby, yeah, that's a great pick, honestly. Look, the man is super underrated. Even in the series we got belted in 2021, like he was one of our standouts. He brought a lot of impact off the bench. He's hard on carries. I love his intensity. He runs up meters. I love his like tackling drives and all that. I don't know. I just really rate Moe as a forward. Like he's young, electric as well in the middle. Yeah, he just does the job, doesn't he?
Yahoo Frem says, fave analysis to listen to outside of Origin. We appreciate it. Thank you so much for trying. And we would have loved to have the other two here, but for us and I, we're doing the best we can. True, to be honest, Gagai did play for years and DC is still there. You both know Queensland footy inside out deep. Thank you, Harry Rector. That's a very big compliment. We
Thank you.
very, very proud of my state, and I would not go for any other state. I would not go for New South Wales, even if I was held at gunpoint. Queensland by 2 and any Ashes content coming up after Origin 1 and 2. There is. It's in the works. We're looking at it. So stay tuned. There'll be any announcements will be on the Instagram, but there is plans for Ashes content, and I'm looking forward to the Ashes. Absolutely. Ojang, wow, you agree, huh? Yes. Fodawaker from the Gold Coast is definitely unlucky to miss out. I actually had him in my squad. Probably over Cotter and definitely over Flegler and over Welsh.
So I would have the Irish selection. Do you think that's been justified this season?
Jairo?
Yeah.
He's been good the games he's played. He started the season off with, but he's been good the games he's played, Jairo. So I reckon, and that shows Queensland loyalty. We're leaping back to that. But yeah, no, he's definitely been good. I think he warranted selection. He can play front row, lock, and second row as well. So it'll be good. He'll go well. Now, for the main part, I think everybody's been waiting for our tips, our scoreline predictions, anytime try scorers, man of the match for game 1, and then we'll do series predictions and Wally Lewis medalist predictions.
Oh, there's before we go on to our tips, there's actually a really good question that I actually want to answer because I have no idea what to say.
Oh, yep. Is it this one?
Yeah, this one.
Queensland halves.
I actually don't even know who my both halves rank would be. That's actually a really good question.
I've got it. I've got one.
Who you got?
Are you ready for this?
Yeah, mate.
Ezra Mam and Tom Dearden.
So Tom Dearden 7?
Tom Dearden 7. I think when Chad Townsend retires, Dearden will become the 7 for Cowboys, I think. And then I'm not too sure. I think they'll probably sign another 6. Ezra Mam will play 6. Tom Dearden at 7. This is when Munster retires as well, obviously. And then I think Reece Walsh will probably be at fullback at that stage if Kalen Ponga hasn't won the jersey back yet. So, yeah, I think the future Queensland spine, especially when Ben Hunt retires, we get Harry Grant back into the starting 9. So Queensland will be good in the future. I think you're saying I have Walker. Sam Walker. Oh, Well, Sam Walker's a good one as well.
The only issue I have with Sam Walker is his defensive issues. Like I feel like he gets too put out in the line easily, and he's got a small body. And I know Man has a small body, but you got to see if Man's tackles. I know he's missed a few, and he's still working with it, but Man, he can make some big tackles.
Well, yeah, he does, and I think for me, Dearden has to be there. He's the only one out of the 3 who's played Origin yet, and he looks right at home playing Origin.
As a Broncos fan, I can happily admit Tom did it, regardless of how the Cowboys are going. He's always putting his best forward. I feel like if he was there Friday night, if he was playing, I think Cowboys would win with his direction. I love his running game. I think he did a development like game management league up.
I'm sorry, yeah. Sorry, Faraz, you cut out in my ears, but I think that's just my internet. No problem.
Sorry.
Now, no, all good, man, all good. But yeah, I agree. Walker Mam is definitely an option as well. So Faraz, could you take us through your tips, scoreline, anytime try scorer, and man of the match for game one?
Yeah, so I think this is going to be a close one. I don't think either side's going to win 13 plus. I actually got the Maroons by 4. I've got Maroons
yep.
20 points to 6. I've got Maroons 20 points to 16. I reckon any time for Maroons would be I'm going to go Munster and I'm going to go Reece Walsh on debut. I reckon Reece Walsh will snag a biggie, one in there. I think man of the match for game one would be Ben Hunt. And I think for the Blues as well, I think anytime, I think John Carr's safe for one. I think he loves scoring at Adelaide over itself. I think on the flat track, with the kicking game, I think Cleary could set him up for 1-2. I think his speed's are really good for the Blues. Could be X factor. So I'm going to go Adelaide and comes off for the Blues.
Absolutely. And sorry, did you say your man of the match there?
Yeah, Ben Hunt.
Oh yeah, sorry, yep. Awesome. Now for me, I'm going to go Queensland. Obviously, got to back the boys in. Scoreline, I think I'm going to go Queensland 22-18. I reckon it'll be pretty close. Anytime try scorers for Queensland, I'm going to go Reece Walsh on debut. And for New South Wales, I'm actually going to go, this is a bit of a smoky, Tavita Pangai Jr. I reckon he might get over the line at some point.
I don't know why. I'm just going to laugh myself if he scores. I have no idea why,
but and man of the match for me, for game one, it's a bit of a tough one. I actually did say in the comments of one, this is a bit of Broncos biasy, but I'm going to go Reece Walsh to get man of the match for game one.
Off the bench like last year with the Carrigan Cotter effect last year off the bench, do you think it could be like a momentum sort of thing? Someone could win off the bench like last year, like Carrigan in game one?
Yeah. Anyone can win it. Anyone can win the man of the match. Anyone can win the Wally Lewis medal. That showed it last year. The fact that Carrigan came off the bench the first 2 games.
Debut series, well.
Yeah. Debut series. Game 3 he started, but the first 2 games he came off the bench. Won the Wally Lewis medal. In all fairness, probably could have been Kalen Ponga, but either way, Paddy Carrigan.
Well, I think either way, like even if you think Kalen Ponga deserves it, that's your choice, fair enough. But even then, like it's even crazy Carrigan one all-time clutch. You know what I mean? Like a forward winning a Wally Lewis medal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. Now I'll quickly read out Lachlan's prediction. Faraz, if you can somehow pull up Davos's, I've looked in the chat. I can't find it. So if you can find that for me, that would be great. But Lachlan has Queensland 18-14. Anytime try scorers of Selwyn Cobbo and Josh Adokar, and his man of the match is Ben Hunt.
So yeah, I found Davis's one. I think he's got Queensland 22 points to 10. Anytime Holmes and Fox. He's got the Wally Lewis medalist in Munster, and he's got man of the match for game one, Munster.
Absolutely. Now, series predictions. Boys, Faraz, we'll start off with you. Your series prediction, as in your score, like, for instance, I'll start us off. I have Queensland 2-1. I have them winning game 1 and game 2. I think New South Wales take game 3, I think, just. But what about you?
You know what? Let's go bold and brave. Might as well. Let's go Queensland 3-0, baby. I don't know. I'm getting a good feeling, honestly. If we can win the first 2, if we win game 1 tomorrow, we will definitely win our game 2, in my opinion, at Suncorp at a full house. We can go to game 3 and potentially sweep these Blues here. They have the better team on paper. They have all the talk. They have all the favourite tags. Tommy Tobo and Latrovic should be there for game 3. If they do that, this is arguably a big series turning point. I think Philly gets sacked. Queensland 3-0, Philly gets sacked.
Definitely. My series prediction, like I said before, I have Queensland 2-1. Fraz has nearly convinced me to change to Queensland 3-0. I believe Lachlan has Queensland 2-1, and I know Davos for a fact had Queensland 2-1. Fraz, you've pretty much actually convinced me that we can get a sweep done. I'm going to change to Queensland 3-0. I'm trusting you. I feel like we'll win the first tomorrow night.
It all comes down to tomorrow, mate.
I think tomorrow night's winner wins the series for me.
Exactly.
if New South Wales win tomorrow, then I'll change my mind and say, no, the winner of game 2 wins the series. But no, it's just it is what it is. I've got okay. I'm going to go Queensland 3. I'm trusting you, Faraz. You better not let me down.
I've never seen 3-0 before. I'm just going big and bold. I just got that crazy feeling.
Yeah, definitely. So, like I said, Lachlan has Queensland 2-1. Davos has Queensland 2-1. And Wally Lewis medalist. Lachlan, I believe, had... who did he have? No, sorry. Davos has Munster. Lachlan had... I cannot find Lachlan's... I can't find Lachlan's Wally Lewis. Oh, no, sorry. He mentioned it on... he mentioned Paddy Carrigan back-to-back. Last episode we did with him. So for Lachlan, it's Paddy Carrigan. For Davos, it's Cam Munster. For you, who is it?
Harry Grant. I feel like he always has an impact off the bench. He's like scoring a few tries here and there. I think he's one of the best hookers of the game. His speed, aggression from the ruck. I think he'll be dangerous close to the line. Yeah, I'm just going to go Harry Grant. I want to say Reece Walsh, but I feel like I'll just let Reece Walsh just have a calm head in the series.
Yeah, very much so. I'm gonna obviously stick with Reece Walsh, like I've said for the past couple of minutes. But one person I think who could win it, who not many people have looked at, who actually won the game for Queensland last year, Ben Hunt. I reckon he's a good chance for the Dally M. Sorry, not for the Dally M. For the Wally Lewis medal. And someone I'd love to see win the Wally Lewis medal, David Fifita. That way we can rub it in Lockie's face. So, David Fifita, if you're watching, please win it. Vernon Snakes says, see you lads, got to go, and New South Wales by 6. Okay. Yeah, I'm honestly, game 1 is still a toss-up for me. I'm not sure who's winning it. But thanks so much for joining, Vernon. We'll see you in the next stream, hopefully. Any other questions anyone has before we end off? And Faraz, do you have anything else you want to add?
No, that's about it, mate. Thanks for having me on for another show. Obviously, we're a bit short on minutes today, but we did the job.
Yeah, very much so. I'll quickly, while we're waiting for other questions, I'll quickly promote, where is it? Here it is. Our Instagram and our YouTube are at the Final Star and Podcast. Absolutely loving the podcast at the moment. It's good. We're sort of getting a bit efficient with it. What's the word I'm looking for? Faraz, help me out here. We're getting... we're posting regularly. That's what I'm meant to say. We're getting there.
We're getting consistent.
Consistent. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you, Faraz.
Jeez, Noah, you're great, mate.
Consistency is key, and everything will work out. The boys will be back soon. Both Davos and Lockie, they'll both be back. But at the Final Siren Podcast on Instagram and on YouTube, subscribe on here and follow us on Instagram to get access to all of our stuff like the ladder updates, power rankings, team of the week, and the TFS medal currently going on, and any updates for streams that we're doing. Joshua Stokes says Queensland did win Adelaide 2020, and we had a very understrength team. So you never know.
And New South Wales still talking about something that didn't even happen. The siren didn't go outside. You lose chance of pride.
I wanted to, before we end off, the referees have already come out and said the time that was shown on the TV screens was actually a few seconds behind the actual time.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, they tapped the ball, and the time doesn't actually go back on until like 5 seconds later. So shut your fucking traps. We won that fair and square. I don't want to hear it.
Even in game 3,
I'm sorry.
And even in game 3, like that, like Josh Adokar one. Look, it's a penalty for sure. And it was given a penalty, but you can't just say it's a penalty try. I'm not saying Munster's faster than him, but Munster was right there in front to get the ball.
Well, Corey Allen obviously was the one who bumped into him, but I think Munster, Edric Lee, Branko Lee, they were all back there. So it's not a penalty try.
It's a penalty, but not a penalty try. And you got the penalty, now shut up and cry.
Exactly.
But
this has been another stream from us. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined in tonight. It's been a great stream. It's been great to see all of our sort of regular viewers coming into the chat. And Joshua Stokes, don't worry, we will be doing something to do with the Ashes. So just sort of hang around, follow the Instagram if you need any updates on that. But until then, Origins tomorrow night, ladies and gentlemen. We're really looking forward to it. And we'll see you on Thursday night for the round 13 review and the round 14 preview.